It's all about Deepseek rather, and the kind of war that we have seen in the entire AI world. So let's try and decode that further. We have Wang from Constellation Research joining us to talk to us about just that. Hi. It's a subject that you deeply researched on, and I'm sure you've tried Deepseek already. Tell me what's been your own assessment and how does it fare versus the peers?
Yeah, you have to realize that you've got an LLM that is much cheaper. It's easier to use. It was trained on less cost. And what it's doing is it's translating to, hey, can we actually do AI at a cheaper cost? And everywhere in the world is trying to figure out, is it real? Is it not? What can it do? What are the limitations? And it's completely disrupted the tech earnings cycle just before all the majors report their tech earnings.
Yeah, that point is taken. But, given the fact that everybody is trying to go back to the drawing boards, do you think it's time that people will start reworking their capex as well? Because till now, somehow the monetization of AI has not really been done on that scale, and that isn't meeting the cost efficiencies.
Well, we have to find out if it's real, that it's really 6 million versus $100 billion to create a large language model. There is some work that's going on from some of the people that we're talking to here at Stanford and some of the universities that maybe a lot of this was stolen from OpenAI. Some of this was stolen from other places that's going on. So we're trying to figure this out. But it's basically a fundamental disruption. It's like the same disruption India has with UPI, because UPI is zero for a transaction versus $25 in the US for a wire, or $1.50 for an ACH transaction. This is the equivalent. If we can get AI down to this pricing, then everybody will be reworking their CapEx models. So you're correct on that point. But the challenge isn't that. The challenge is, can China get to Gen AI? Can China get to general artificial intelligence as well? And if they do get to that, then that's going to be an interesting war. But there is a shot fired. This is basically what people call a Sputnik moment. A war has been declared, and we're going to have to see what the race looks like at the first AI Cold War begins.
All right, Ray, hi. Good to be speaking with you. Definitely a very hot topic. But Ray, the implications are seen to be very huge. It's not just the companies that are worried. It's making the AI more accessible. The moats of the big tech companies seem to be going away. But doesn't seem like, Ray, that these US giants are going to be silent. The US is going to be silent because DeepSeek is coming at a time where all the efforts were made for China to actually control their technology advancements. So Ray, help us understand that. How do you see all these tech giants to move in the times ahead? They're not going to be silent. The US government is not going to be sitting silent on this particular move. So what could be the likely impact going ahead?
Well, there are a couple likely impacts. I think you're going to see that every one of the AI companies is going to drive down their cost structure and make it easier for customers to get to the compute power that's needed. There's a second piece that's going to happen. We're going to see more open models. Unlike the internet age, which was decentralized, open, lots of players, cheaper, AI today, unfortunately, has been centralized, few players. It's actually more closed, and more importantly, it's more expensive. And so that paradigm is what the biggest shift will be. And then the other play is really competing with China on AI is very important, because China can actually get to power production at less than 2 cents per kilowatt hour. And when that happens, manufacturing AI is cheaper in China than anywhere else. And if that happens, then the West will fall behind. So it's important for the West to be able to, and the US tech companies, to be able to get their AI cost structure down much lower and much more open, so that other companies can actually take advantage of it.
Just the West which is under threat right now, it's also India for that matter, right? Where do you think India stands within all of this? Because of course, as far as the LLMs are concerned, India hasn't been able to kind of match up to the speed that we have seen in even US, as well as China and even the likes of France, etc., to be honest. And secondly, on the manufacturing that you talked about, we were looking at making these huge investments in the semiconductor industry, thinking that the entire value chain is going to get benefited. But now that also goes in a bit of a slump. What do you make of India's positioning within all of this?
Well, India's in a great position to actually apply AI, and if the power situation gets resolved by having more power plants, you're going to probably need to add about 2 gigs worth of power to be able to support the data centers. And of course, the loads are actually all going to India. So the good news is demand is coming to India, and India has to be able to provide the supply, unlike other areas where demand may be falling because of these announcements.
All right, Ray, but in some of the recent news flow, the Digital News Publication Association in India has recently joined AI in their lawsuit against OpenAI. So now from legal and industry perspective, help us understand that what are the key challenges this case can help us with, like AI's use of the copyright material. How do you foresee it shaping the relationship between the AI companies and the content creators?
It's a great question. One of the things we were proposing at Davos last week was really the fact that IP rights are going to change in the age of AI. Just like we have trademarks, just like we have copyright, the insights inside these large language models will change. It might be worth 10 milliseconds. That's your copyright. It might be 10 days. It could be 10 months. It could be 10 years. That's going to change. The other piece that's going to change over time is who owns that information, that creativity, that IP, even your DNA and genetics, right? That should go back to the individual. And when governments give those individuals those property rights, then we'll actually have a legal framework to be able to actually look at rights, look at derivatives, and be able to think about where we monetize AI, not just for the individual contributing to it, but also for society as a whole.
Taken, but just coming back to India again, because there has been this stark difference in the pace of development of AI across the world versus India. Where do you think India is lacking? Because surely it's not talent.
It's definitely not talent. I think what's lacking is really the investment and the capex to build the data centers to be able to do these AI models. And I think the second piece is really the ability to actually get the large tech giants to actually make those investments in India to support a sovereign AI or to support multiple private AI models, especially among the majors.
All right, Ray, with this, we'll let you go on that. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you taking the time out and speaking with us.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.